Hey, Joey, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. How you doing, Greg?
All right. Hey, I noticed you came out here and you told me that we have an island that's in the kitchen.
Yeah, you got a kitchen island. This island, we don't have any electrical or anything. Well, we don't have any electrical water that has to be in it, but I'm always run like a conduit to it. That way, you know, if you do want to add some electrical or someone makes a change, you do want to add something, you can always do it later on. So I was just checking to make sure all the, the grounding wire and everything was in here, everything for inspection. I got to cut back a little bit of plastic, but we have an inspection tomorrow. We're pouring concrete on Thursday, so just kind of making sure everything's in order.
All right, so tell the folks what you did out here for Radford Homes at this site where you are the builder.
Yeah.
We went and got rebar yesterday from Home Depot. We got block, we got this plastic.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit what happened here.
So I think last time you guys probably saw the lot was cleared out. Lot was cleared out, we had dirt added, and then we had the forms put up. Then the plumber came in. You guys may have seen that video. The plumber came in, did his thing. Then the next step is, they dug the footers.
Oh yeah, the footers. Show them the footers. Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone asking what's a footer, just how we have feet on the bottom of our body, all of our weight goes on our feet. Same thing with a house, is all the weight goes on the footer. So it's deeper. It's deeper at the end, at the edges of the house, basically where the blocks can go on top of. So everywhere around the house, it's dug down pretty deep.
What are these things here, Joey?
These things right here,
yeah.
Rebar, or these? Yeah, so
yeah.
This is the rebar. So if you can see this thing right here, it's called a dowel. If you look at the end of it, if you look down here, Greg, it's an L shape. So think about it, this whole thing is going to be filled with concrete. So if you can see this part that's moving, this is L.
Do that again, Joey, so they can see that.
So this right here, you see, this is shaped in an L. So this whole thing's going to be dug with concrete. So imagine this, when the slab is done being poured, this is about 20 inches in the ground. It'd pretty much be impossible to grab this and pull it out, to pull this out of the concrete, right? Kind of like sorting the stones type thing.
Yes.
And then the way I'll kind of show you later on, but one of these actually goes in the wall, and part of the concrete wall is actually pumped full, and there's another one of these that go on the top of the wall, and it's also shaped in an L. And then those also have like anchors that the truss will be attached to. So the whole purpose of the concrete block house when it's built is everything is tied in together. So if a big hurricane comes through, you won't kind of see like in Twister how the whole roof tears off. Back in Hurricane Andrew, I think in 2004, they changed the codes after that because that storm was so bad. So now everything's kind of tied in together. So you can really have that uplift with no problem.
All right. So Joey, what is this metal rod? This is a metal rod right here. What is that?
Yeah, so actually the very first house that I built, I actually kind of learned this lesson the hard way. Just wasn't all in there. So you guys have heard of grounding with electrical or anything. Once a hurricane, if a lightning strikes your house and since there's metal on the bottom of the house, you just kind of want to make sure that you have a grounding iron in it. So like I said, I have to cut this plastic away because this actually has to sit directly on it. And I'll do that here.
So what you got there? Show them down there, Joey, the little thing.
Yeah, so this is a copper wire. It's attached to the rebar, to the rebar in the house. So it's just another form of ground.
And that's a screw right there?
Yeah, it's a ground clamp, so that the inspector is going to be looking for that. I tighten it down real tight.
Oh, sure. So that's a ground clamp?
Yeah, a grounding clamp.
Grounding clamp?
Yeah, grounding clamp. So the inspector is going to be looking for that tomorrow when he comes out here. But they did a good job.
So, Joe, why did y'all put this plastic here? And you also had to spray this for termites?
Great question. Yeah. So the plastic here for two reasons. One, for the more to the concrete. Concrete. A lot of people think that like concrete. Oh yeah, hey, if it's sometimes you look at concrete, it looks like really, really wet. But actually, the more water that's in concrete, the weaker it kind of makes it. But when concrete is poured, you actually want it to dry like pretty slow. So they'll be spraying with water after it gets poured a little bit. So there's two parts. One, when they got done with everything, the termite guy, Lanier's pest control guy named Billy, he comes out and he sprays a termite solution. The subterranean termites are everywhere. Most people think it's just termites, kind of tearing around the house. But if you took a piece of board, buried it in the ground, if it wasn't treated, you came back a month later to have a bunch of bites in it, just because subterranean termites, underground termites. So they spray that solution. They spray a crazy amount underneath the slab, then they put the plastic on, and that kind of keeps it kind of protects that termite solution. And also when they're pouring the concrete on here, it kind of makes sure that all the water from the concrete doesn't get absorbed into the dirt, crazy fast. So it kind of slows the curing of the concrete, ultimately to make it stronger over time.
All right. Well, thanks, Joey. I appreciate what you're doing.
No problem.
All right. This is my builder right here, Joey Manning, and you can visit his website at www.manningmbmasterbuildermb.com. And we're inside of my neighborhood where I grew up at, and we're building a brand new house, and we're going to be putting it back on the market. You need to ask us about $15,000 down payment assistance. Okay? Don't quote me on it, but I think you have to stay here for 5 years at a minimum, and you can receive $15,000 in down payment assistance from the city of Bartow. Joy will speak more on that. I'm just going to be, bringing the house to the city of Bartow, and then him and his lovely and beautiful wife, Raquel. Am I saying that right? Raquel. Tell them about that down payment assistance, Joy. $15,000. Some people said it was $30,000 at one time, but I know we was talking about 15.
Well, yeah, they had $30,000 down payment assistance. I think they actually kind of just picked all that stuff from the CRA, but I was in the east end of Bartow, in a little subsection that happened there, kind of spur the growth. I think they kind of removed the 30. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 or 3 more houses going up that they may give it to, but again, that's on the east side of Bartow. Over here, they've got to submit proposals in order for the CRA to grant it. So that's one thing that we're kind of working on.
Over here is the west side, baby.
This is the west side. The west side of Bartow.
Joey's from the east side. I'm from the west side. We're on the west side, baby. That's Polk Street Community Center right there. They're voting today. So all y'all that's listening to this, make sure you exercise your right, your privilege to vote. All right, Joey. But you've been instrumental uptown. Yep. Working, building inside of the west side. You've built 3 brand new single family homes inside of the west side CRA. If you don't know what CRA stands for, it stands for Community Redevelopment Agency. But it's like the area where we grew up at, I grew up at personally, right across the street right there, 4 houses down on Polk Street. So it's real instrumental. It's prideful. We're grateful. We're humble to be here and to be building a house, just to have the bandwidth to build a house. My mother never owned a house, Joey, so it's important for me.
That's why to me, that's why I try to build houses in the areas that I grew up in, because my parents, their entire life, we used to go to they used to go to open houses, these different manufactured homes, and as a kid, they'd always walk, oh, come look at this, we're gonna buy this, we're gonna buy a house, we're gonna buy a house. 18 years later, when I'm going to college, we never lived in a house, even after I graduated from college. My parents never owned a house. My dad, I bought my dad a house maybe about 2 years ago, so he just owned his first house. My mom's actually getting a house built right now as well. We obviously always try to, take care of our parents. Our parents try to give us a better life. We try to do the same thing for our kids. So that's obviously the reason why I do everything, is just trying to give my wife and my kids a good life. And but yeah, that's why we're building here. That's why Greg, talking to Greg, he's super inspirational for me, because he's trying to do the same thing I'm doing, and now that he doesn't just buy houses and flip them and just most people think, you might just assume if you just drive by, oh, Greg might be one of those slumlords. No, you walk in the houses that Greg does. they look great on the outside, but you walk in and he does everything, top notch. He doesn't do anything cheap. He does everything top notch. And now with him building houses, he's doing the same thing. That's kind of how I linked up with him. So I tell Greg, hey, look, man, if I'm building something, I'm gonna build it like I'm gonna live there.
That's right. That's what you told me too.
Yeah. So.
Joy, let's speak about this. You got 2 houses going up simultaneously right here, one right down there. Yeah, okay. Yeah. What is that? What's the address? 1390 Polk Street. That's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Just like this one we're building for him. The other one, that's already been sold, but that's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath as well. That's a garage.
So it's already been sold.
The first one, on the first one, Child's haven't been sold. The one on Polk Street, we haven't really.
Okay.
I think my wife posted something.
Did you get a down payment assistance for that one?
Yeah, there's $15,000 down payment assistance for that.
Say that again?
$15,000 in down payment assistance, so the buyer's gonna move in for absolutely $0. One of my partners is handling the mortgage, so getting literally way below market rates on the house, and we're gonna end up doing the exact same thing on the Polk Street house, and hopefully do the same thing here.
Speaking of mortgages, don't you work with Ruth's Mortgage?
Yeah, I'm the owner of Ruth's Lending here in Bartow. My partner runs another office in Lake Wells called Ridgeview Mortgage, but both underneath the same umbrella, same tree. So I do mortgages as well. That's like I said, my background is in mortgages and finance, so every time I'm doing something, the example I always give to people is, hey, look, would you buy $1 million house? Most people go, oh no, I couldn't afford $1 million. But if you could do a 500-year mortgage at a 0% interest rate on $1 million house, and your payment was only $400, if you found out from the city your utility is only $150 a month, you might go, oh, $1 million, only $500 something a month. I'll buy that house all day long. And the same token, there's a house that's only $50,000. If you could only finance it for, let's say 30 years, where the rate was 50% for whatever reason, and your mortgage payment was going to be $3,000, you wouldn't buy the $50,000 house. So you'd buy the $1 million, but you wouldn't buy the $50,000 house, regardless of what money you make. So the financing part of it has a huge impact on on what you're actually going to do. Because I always tell people, like, look, houses, because of property tax and insurance, one house could be cheaper or more expensive, than another house. So that's the way it all kind of works.
All right. Thank you, Joy.
No problem.
All right.
Hey, Jay, hold this.
All right, folks, you got to come see us on April the 4th. April the 4th, I'm going to be having a Radford Homes Day right here on the west side of Bartow in my hood, where I grew up at. And I'm going to be explaining to you how did Radford Homes buy almost 20 houses since I retired from the United States Army. True story. Almost 20 houses we bought and sold, or bought and held, buy and hold mostly. We sold a couple, but we strategically sold them, meaning we put them in position under IRS 121. We owner-occupied it for at least 24 months for an aggregate of 60 months, meaning I owned it for 5 years, okay, 5 years, and then I offloaded it. Google IRS 121, and you will see what I'm talking about. If you're single, that's $250,000. You're forgiven capital gain waivers. If you're married, you're forgiven $500,000. IRS 121. Google it. All right. Once again, I'm Greg, one half of Radford Homes, L.L.C. And my lovely and beautiful wife, Sabrina, well, you know the deal. She's the brains and the beauty behind the operation. Make no mistake about it. And I got my main man, the builder, the master builder, Manning, the master builder himself, knocking it down. Super excited. He always asks me that every time he see me. He said, Greg, are you excited? Then he always said, Greg, are you super excited? Now, that's the kind of person I want to work for, because he already know I'm on 10 all the time. And if you're not on 10 and you're building in your own neighborhood, I don't know what can get you hype after that. Talk to you later, folks. Salute all veterans.